Welcome to the SABM podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Scott. Happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. And I think it's been a little while since we last connected. I think we first met at the Blue and Gold Summit, the Navy Blue and Gold Summit for real estate investors about a year ago,
Yep.
the spring of 2024. And got to meet each other there and walk around Annapolis together and then watch some cricket, I think, or whatever it was, croquet or
Croquet. Yeah, the,
the
the croquet
croquet,
tournament.
the Johnnies.
We
Yeah.
beat the Johnnies.
But and then then you presented an investment opportunity, a real estate investment opportunity to the investor group last year, and now you're back, man. And I don't know if you were the youngest person to present to the investor group or if Breyer was. I don't know. I know that you guys are connected, so I
Yeah,
don't know
Briar's
who.
1 year younger than me. He's West Point
Oh,
class of 22.
so
I'm
you're the
Navy class of
second
21.
youngest.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. Well, it's good to have you on the podcast today. And maybe just to kick things off, you're, one of the younger guests that we've had on the podcast. And it's always a lot of fun to see the younger guys and gals just crushing it. Like when I was your age, I was definitely not real estate investing or planning really for the future. Just trying to like celebrate that I wasn't at the academy anymore. So, um, yeah, maybe just to kick things off, would love to, yeah, maybe just introduce yourself and share what you're up to.
Sure. My name's Rob Pekarek. I'm a Naval Academy class of 21 grad. Then I went to do graduate school at Purdue as class of 23, and I'm an active duty Air Force officer, so I cross-commissioned to the Air Force. Last summer, I joined a team and we acquired a 24-unit apartment complex. I'm also on a team that just acquired a 27-unit group of townhomes just a couple months ago. Outside of that, I run entrepreneurship group. I run a sales group. I talk with CEOs and entrepreneurs and help them grow their companies. And I kind of think of myself as a connector between business owners, where I talk with business owners. I try to figure out their problem. I try to figure out a solution to their problem, and then I share that to other CEOs who can also benefit from that solution.
Yeah, well, you get a lot of things going on, so I'd imagine maybe you're probably not going to be at the career conference when you're transitioning out. It sounds like you probably have created your own job for yourself or your your own business.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I'm currently active duty, but like from my businesses, I make more in a couple months than I do from my military salary in a year. So I'm currently in the process of onboarding employees. That's a big thing I'm working on right now.
That's amazing, and it's great to have you on the podcast. And I guess maybe to kick things off, I love the side hustles. I think that side hustles are so important for people. Most people don't start a business or have a business full time. I think there was a Gallup survey that came out recently, last week or this week, and there's only, I think, 10% of the U.S. population are business owners, and then only 2.5% are business owners with at least one employee. So it's like
Really?
that's really, yeah. I'm like,
Oh
wow.
my God.
So the major, yeah. So, but I think side hustling is such a great transition into business ownership, and that's was my start. Not really going out there right away and putting my family at risk and quitting my job and then just starting something new. It was, hey, let me try this idea out on the side. I've got an income, I've got benefits, um, and some things you can take more risks that way, right? And so the path that you've chosen for yourself, you're involved in a lot of different types of opportunities, different types of businesses. You could go in a lot of different paths. um, but I just wanted to kind of commend you on like starting these side hustles, because your transition out of the military pretty soon, if you decide to transition out, like that's going to be, you've got a nice launch pad, right? So um, yeah, just really cool that of what you built. What's the most exciting side hustle you have right now? Like, what's the one with like the one that you're most passionate about out of all of the different things that you mentioned earlier?
I'm gonna say most focused on right now is real estate syndication, where our goal is to help high earners who are making at least $200,000 a year double their money in 5 years in a passive investment. So that's the one that I'm trying to actively build up right now, just to pay the bills, so that way I can focus on some of the things I'm even more passionate about, which is helping people.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe, well, so how about the real estate syndications? Then we'll start there since that seems to, you know, be pretty profitable and there's a lot of real estate investors in the network. How did you get started down that path? I mean, you were like the second youngest person to ever present to the group, right? So, like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what gave you the courage, or like, what led you down that path of, hey, I want to do real estate
Yeah.
syndication?
So for me, the way that it worked out was I, first of all, huge believer in the stock market. I was really into the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. So I was saving a large chunk of my income, investing it all into a Roth IRA or TSP, which is the equivalent of that, plus yeah, so a Roth IRA and a TSP. And then I was trying to figure out how else I could get tax advantaged retirement accounts. Talked with a buddy. He recommended I buy a property. So I bought a property, lived in one room, rented the other rooms out. Then I moved to where I am at now. I was just trying to figure out how I could passively invest in a real estate syndication. Um, Talked with some general partners, invested passively, started getting I just thought, oh, wow, this is a really good deal. I'm going to get my sister to invest. I'm going to get my dad to invest. I'm going to get my brother. I'm going to get my close friends to invest. And then I realized that the general partners maybe didn't have the same level of experience with building slide decks and online systems that I did. So I just started free of charge. I was a limited partner. I was an investor in the syndication. I just started being like, hey, have you thought about this, changing that, maybe doing this? And, I was just trying to add value. And eventually they just were like, hey, I mean, this is awesome and we love everything you're doing here, but like we just want you to do it instead of you telling us to do it. So just join the team as a general partner.
All right.
Um, yeah. So that's how I got started as a general partner in that 24 unit syndication.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And think about how many people don't have that type of a mindset, right? They want to get paid first, or they're like, hey, but you're kind of you came to the table with like, I want to give first and be helpful and useful and and here you are. You became a general partner and a part of that deal, and I'm sure a part of future deals, and um what a great mindset to have.
Yeah. It's just all about, A, I don't know everything in the world, so I'm curious. I want to learn. And also, there's nothing in the world that I can't do. I can always learn to do anything. If there's a skill that exists, like that's not, oh, I don't know how to do this skill. I won't ever be able to learn. It's, oh, I can do this skill. And also, I can teach people how to do this skill. And that goes for any skill in the world, other than maybe being able to dunk, because I don't know if I can dunk. I'm a little bit too short to do that. But anything business related, so like talking with you, Scott, right? You know how to run a business mastermind, a group. That is a skill. That is something that I can learn just by talking with you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. Yeah. And is there anything else you want to cover on the real estate syndication business or that side of the house? And I'd love to transition, after that, maybe to what, you said that was your focus, but there's other things that maybe you're more passionate about.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
yeah.
Um, so that was the 24 unit. We raised about $1 million for that deal. I raised a little over half a million of that myself from family, friends, my network. And then moved on to another deal. This we closed March 10th. Still raising capital for that one. And the with that one, our play is, about uh, it's only accredited investors, so you have to make $200,000 a year or more. Minimum investment's 50,000, and you basically the play is 5 years, double your money, basically. Yeah, so that's that. So working on that, trying to help people. If it's a good fit for people, it's great. If it's not a good fit for people, they can invest in something else. So yeah, and
Yeah.
currently really scaling out or building out the way to I've been learning so much, Scott, about how to generate leads. So people who are interested and then like qualify those leads to figure out, are these people like actually people who are interested in like, my product or my service will help them and make their life better? Or are these people who are just here to kind of just look? Um,
Yeah, us talk about that, man, because I love lead gen. So, the businesses that I'm a part of, that's like that's the hat that I wear. And I think it's like people think it's like magic. Like, oh, like, hey, you have this webinar and there's 100 people that register and like, how did you do that? Right. But I really want to, from one lead gen guy to another, like, let's talk about lead gen and how to like what's working right now.
I would say what really works is helping people. I just
Okay.
provide value. So I post on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever, and I just literally just post about what I'm learning or like what I have inside of my head that I can transfer into other people's heads to help them. Because most people just just they don't know what they don't know. And so you can just share something with them that can just help them, you know, create more wealth for themselves or create, you can share something that can help them build a better life for themselves and they don't even know. They don't know to ask you for it. So all I do is I share this knowledge freely and I just share it. And then people DM me and they're like, "Oh, I saw you posted about this. This is so cool." And then eventually, they want to set up a call.
And what platform, like if you had to pick one platform that you think that you like working on most, like which one is it?
So who am I talking to? Who's my avatar?
I don't know. You tell like who is your avatar, and then
Yeah.
who are you, and then which
So
yeah, or maybe
if we're talking
your top two, your top
Okay,
two. How
yeah.
about
So if we're
that?
talking business owners who are generally 40 plus years old, then I say LinkedIn is a good platform because that's where those people are. The platform is where the people are. So I don't care about how the platform specifically is, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever. It's just about who is the audience that's on that platform. So if I'm trying to target business owners, generally those people who are over 40 or over, let's say over 30, are generally on LinkedIn. So if I'm trying to target business owners over 30, I'll go on LinkedIn. If I'm trying to target business owners under 30, especially those who run like an online brand, I would say Instagram is where those people are. So I'm targeting them on Instagram.
Gotcha. Yeah. So know where your audience is, and obviously that's important. And different audiences use different platforms. I'm beginning to
Yep.
find out just from my kids who are teenagers, like Facebook's for old people. So I don't
Yeah, if
know.
I'm targeting people over 30, maybe I'd use Facebook. But those are not business owners. So if I wanted to target business owners over 30, I'd use LinkedIn. So I don't
LinkedIn.
use Facebook that much. The way I found the most valuable way to use Facebook is to post inside of a group that's specifically on some purpose. So like the USNA Property Network, for example, and then
Mhm.
just provide value, just teach people something that they don't know, um, and position yourself as an expert in the space of oh, you can do this or that or this to save X amount of dollars when you're buying a house or whatever. Because a lot of people they aren't really that good of places to get all this information. So if you just give the information for free, people will be like, "Wow, this is awesome! This person's giving me all this information," and then
Yeah,
they
and
want to reach out to you.
yeah, it builds credibility, and you're giving first, and just kind of like you did with your real estate partners, kind of coming from a give first mindset, and that opens the door to a new relationship and maybe a new customer down the road. How do you differentiate like the tire kickers, or what, I don't know what you call them before. Like I'm so bad at, like, so I've got, in our CRM just leads, like just piles of leads, right? And I don't know. I never really want to just like get rid of one. what do you, what are your, what's your strategy for, okay, so you've brought in some leads, you've had some conversations, maybe it could be related to your syndication business, maybe it could be related to something else, but then how do you differentiate like which ones you should pursue and spend your time with versus the people that are never going to buy from you?
Yeah, I pursue the ones who pursue me. So generally there's a process to qualifying leads, which the problem is if you have too many leads and you have unqualified leads, that means that the problem is ultimately higher up in your funnel. So you're familiar with the concept top of funnel? That's all the content that will draw on everyone. Then middle
Yeah.
of funnel, that's targeted specifically for an audience, and then end of funnel where you close. So if you're having problems in middle of funnel or end of funnel, it's because your top of funnel is too big. You're bringing in too many people at the top step. So you need to make people qualify themselves at the top step so you can figure out, hey, is this somebody who's actually interested? Is this somebody who's who will actually be helped by my product or service that I'm selling?
Yeah. And what are some ways that you can qualify people at the top of funnel, or some tools that you can use, or suggestions you might have for folks that, yeah, that just want to be more focused working with people that actually might, might buy something from them versus just somebody, kicking the tires and wasting your time.
Yeah, perfect. So here's an example. So this is specifically related to my real estate syndication. This is what I'd say at top of funnel. I'd say, hey, if you do not make $200,000 a year, and B, you're not interested in real estate syndications, so you have to A, make $200,000 a year, B, be interested in real estate syndications, and C, have at least $50,000 of liquid and ready to invest within the next 30 days. If you don't meet those qualifications, then we're not going to talk, and that's okay. Or, we can talk, but like we're not going to have an hour-long chat about real estate, because that's just I have a lot of people. There are a lot of people who are interested in talking, but the way that you qualify whether people are actually interested or not, you say, hey, do you meet these three qualifications? And if they say yes, then you say, okay, good, we'll talk. But if they say no, then we'll be like, okay, well, let's not waste either of our time.
Yeah. And how do you know if they meet those qualifications? So is there
I
like a form you have people fill out, or what's the mechanics of that?
Yeah, I just ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're right. There definitely needs to be a form or a systemized process for making sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I've dealt with this a lot, right? I've learned a lot over, the past, let's see, over a year since last February. So I've learned a lot about this, and I would say that systemizing that process of not even taking calls unless they go through, um, some sort of screening of that sort. Um, I'm not 100% sure what the best way to do it. I know there's a lot of ideas out there. Some are, have you ever heard of a lead magnet or a
Sure.
buyer's magnet?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
So lead magnet, you're giving that away for free. Buyer's magnet, you pre-qualify your leads by making them pay, I don't know, something very small, like $11,
Okay.
for this thing that will solve, thousands of dollars of their problems. But you make them pay $11 for it. And the thing is, if somebody's not willing to pay $11 for something that's going to solve thousands of dollars of problems for them, um, then I don't know what to tell that person. And maybe that person is not the type of person who will end up investing $50,000 in something that will also solve some of their problems.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think that business owners, salespeople, but primarily business owners, because not all business owners just want to spend their time talking with prospects all day, right? They want to create new things, they want to start other businesses, they want to invest, they want to do all these different things. And gosh, it's so frustrating, I think, sometimes when you're spending a lot of your day like talking to the wrong people, right? Or your conversion rates are, hey, I talked to like five people and one person bought from me, or I talked to 10 people and only one person bought from me. And it's like the same pitch over and over and over again. And so and if it's not like your product isn't converting that well, or maybe just the people need more time or a different way to experience the product on their own without you having to invest any sort of time in that conversation. Gosh, I think that's so that's so important. But there's so many ways to do that now, just with if you've got a service business, just with technology and letting people experience parts of what you offer for free, on their own time, and maybe it takes them a month or 2 weeks or 6 months or whatever it takes, but you're not spending any time in talking with that person. And when they're ready to buy, they just send you the payment, or they just right they sign up, right? And so but I know just how frustrating it can be to kind of be in that trap of like, oh my gosh, I've had so many conversations today and I don't even want to be in this business anymore because of it. So
Yeah, and a lot of that just comes down to not qualifying leads, and that's something I did not do at all. I didn't qualify leads at all my first deal I was doing, because I was having so many conversations and I had such a low conversion rate, and somehow I still raised over $500,000 with a very low conversion rate, and that's just because I thought, oh, it's a numbers game. I'm just gonna put in volume, but now I've realized no, I have to qualify leads or prospects, so that way, I'm not wasting anybody's time. I'm not getting on these calls with people who, if I can't solve their problem, if they don't have the problem that they have, $50,000 burning a hole in their pocket and they don't know where to put it, and I can just tell them, boom, I solved your problem. Here's a place to put it. Then, I mean, I, you know, whatever. We can talk about the weather or the Army Navy game, but I mean, they can talk about that with their buddies.
Yeah. All right. Well, and I know before we hit record today, you kind of talked about the three pillars of how you want to help people. And I know you're probably still trying to figure out things out, on your, as far as you've got a lot of different things, irons in the fire and things that you're working on. But I thought what was really interesting was like the three pillars that you have, and how you really want to help people. And maybe if we could dive into each of those pillars, I'd love to at least get your feedback and thoughts on those pillars. And yeah, and just kind of, from somebody who's kind of probably on the cutting edge of technology and connecting people and all of that. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you the 90 seconds idea of what my company is, or what my mission is, really. I say the word company, but really it's a personal mission. Me and the company are one and the same. Top line goals, there are three of them. There are three pillars to a successful life. Number one is having a fit body and a fit mind. Having a fit body and fit mind lets you live longer. It will let you live longer so that you can spend more time with loved ones. You can spend more time exploring the world, all of that, and you'll have the physical strength and capability and the mental acuity to be able to do that. Pillar number two, which also enables you to live the life that you want, is wealth. How do you build and grow wealth as a person? And this goes all the way from ranging from helping people setting up, a high yield checking account and an emergency fund. Because believe it or not, there are a lot of people who don't have that set up. Uh, or setting up a Roth IRA, or setting up a 401k, something like that for the first time, or for those people who want to buy their first house. How do I get connected with a realtor? How do I get connected with a loan officer? What do I need to know? Um, People who have never invested in a real estate syndication. How do I do that? How do I know who to trust? How do I know the right sponsor? How do I know what makes a good deal? Or for people who are building a business, how do I start hiring employees? How do I grow my business? How do I make sure that, I can, like, what backend system should I even be using? Like, there's a lot of different questions that people have. And so my goal is to help them come to those answers. Then the third goal, so goal number one, fitness. Goal number two, help people build wealth. Goal number three is to help people find a sense of purpose and community. So, for example, I talk to many CEOs, and a lot of them have, the net worth in the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And many of them are very happy, and many of them are not. For the ones who are not, it generally is they are either they're super lonely because they spent all of their time building their business and never invested in community, family, or something bigger than themselves, and instead spent their entire lives trying to get money, which is not a recipe for a happy life. Believe it or not, money does not buy happiness. You have to find happiness, and you also have to work with unhappiness within yourself. And a lot of that comes from investing in other people, investing in young people, whether that's your own kids or finding a mentee and working with them and helping them accomplish their goals and dreams. So that's a lot of what I do actually is I try to help people find that purpose. Then I also mentor younger entrepreneurs, those who are in high school or college, or just 20 years old and they're starting their own business, but they don't know all this stuff. So I just try and help them out. And I do all of this for free. I do all of this for free, everything for free. Um, and so, yeah, my mission really is just to help people in those three areas: fitness, wealth, and building community and purpose. That's
All
the goal.
right. And yeah. And so, I mean, so obviously your time's pretty valuable or pretty scarce, with a lot of all of your different projects. How do you determine who you help for free? You know, if this is, or do you plan on, is this going to be a business at some point where you're kind of, maybe you build a community or you do coaching, or where do you imagine this? I guess maybe first, like, how do you kind of decide who you'd like to work with or who would be a good fit? And then, where do you see this, 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years down the road?
Yeah, really. So first of all, who's a good fit? I would say people who are interested in improving. Um, and the thing is, a lot of people they say, oh, I want to get better. I want to grow my business. I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to start a business. I want to get involved in real estate. And a lot of people, maybe they want to, but they are afraid to ever take action. And if you never take action, if you never start, you can never fail. And if you never fail, you can never figure out what you do wrong. If you never figure out what you do wrong, you never learn. And if you never learn, you never grow. So ultimately, the people I talk with, I want to make sure that they are serious about growing and learning and doing. That's really it. If it's like I'm talking with a freshman in college, she's 19 years old, she's starting her own like energy bar company, and she's a doer. She's growing her business and she's taking action and she's making a lot of mistakes, and that's okay because she's learning. And I love that. Um, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
really just are they curious about learning and growing? Are they willing to take action? And then also three, are they willing to let go of a huge ego and be willing to hear feedback from somebody?
Yeah. And then where do you see this going, as you look kind of out into the future, and what would you like to, yeah, do you think this would just be kind of like a give back that, you're going to do and it makes you feel good, and that's cool, right? Or do you imagine this becoming something more than that, or, what are some of your goals?
Yeah. Long-term goals, not 100% determined yet. There's a lot of different ideas here, Scott. A lot of different ideas because there's way more people in the world than I can possibly help. So that's part of why I'm bringing on employees to help me with that. Um, and basically, I'm going to help my employees so that way they can help other people. Um, Long-term vision, there's a lot of different ways that this could go. Um, some of it is maybe eventually the demand gets so high that, I have to charge something. Um, or maybe I just make money by, referring people to different other people who can help them with some problem they have. Um, haven't 100% figured it out. Right now, the way I'm envisioning my business is I am building the foundation. This is a skyscraper, and right now I'm laying the concrete so that way we can build. But right now I'm just laying the concrete, the foundation, setting up all the back end systems, training really good employees, learning how to hire and learning. And most of all, when I'm talking with these people, this is like in general, like, yes, I'm helping them, but also they're helping me. When you give someone knowledge, they also want to help you in some way. So most of the time, just earlier today, I was talking with somebody about different things within their business. They run a staffing company where they basically, for large tech companies, they hire developers for them and staff them into their company. And we were just talking about, how do we pay our employees? And then they were like, oh yeah, actually I use this service, which by the way is called, oh, I actually forgot what it's called. Um, but I was using Wise and they were like, oh no, use this other service. Um, and I was like, okay, perfect. And they sent me the referral link for that. And now I'm going to be using that to manage payroll for my employees. So yeah, a lot of times when I'm talking with people, like I have a call lined up after this where, you know, I'm asking them how I can help them, and then they're just telling me about their processes, and I'm like, wow, that is such a cool thing. You're using Lindy AI that takes notes in every single meeting you're in. Like, this is great. I'm going to use this service too. So like the amount of value that I get just from talking with people is immense.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, too. Um, Yeah, entrepreneurship is a little bit of a lonely journey, or being a CEO of a company, right? You're there, you're out, there's a lot of rejection that you're facing every day, and it's just good to have people, people to talk to, right? And it's okay not to have it all figured out. I remember when I first started what I do. I mean, I was doing like these one-on-one kind of like free coaching calls, like after work, like I didn't know what, like, just trying to be useful and help people. And most of the people I wasn't charging anything, charging them for what I was offering. But what's really interesting is it all comes back around, right? And so a lot of those people I'm still in touch with today. I get cards from them in the mail, and um, one of them's invested, in a deal or what, so it's, so you might not have it all figured out right now, but you've got a good heart. You want to be helpful and useful. And then you just kind of figure it out, right? You figure out your niche, you figure out the problem that you want to solve, you figure out who it is that you really want to help. And then like how you're designed to best help them based on what your strengths are. And then boom, you've got something that's scalable and fun and built around an audience that you love to serve, and and strengths that you offer the world, your gifts, and you get paid, you know, because of who you are, and
Yeah.
you're kind of still doing the same thing, just being useful and helpful. So I think that's a good way to start.
I love that, Scott. And something I want to emphasize there and really foot stomp is prioritizing the relationship. I'm just trying to help people and build a relationship with them and build a friendship and just help them accomplish their goals. And if they win and they achieve their goals, then I'm happy. And that's the reward in itself.
All right, Rob. Well, it's good connecting with you, reconnecting with you here about a year later, and it's awesome to hear all of the progress that you've made, and congratulations on those deals that you're doing. And yeah, just be proud. You should be proud of all of you've accomplished at such a young age. What's the best way for folks to learn more about you, get in touch, and if they want to reach out after the podcast?
Yeah, people can absolutely feel free to message me on LinkedIn. Um, and we'll probably link that in the bio or something of this. And then also Instagram. Instagram's really good. And then LinkedIn is really good. Instagram is Rob the Peck, LinkedIn, Robert Pekarek.
All right, and we'll post the links to your LinkedIn profile and Instagram in the show notes, so people can reach out and connect with you. And Rob, here's to an awesome 2025.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Scott. This was great.